going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back there. I wanted to bring you a video, kind of an update to a video in a way. It's about the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation. And Karmelo Anthony is the black kid that killed a white kid, stabbed a white kid in the track meet back in April, and early April. And Karmelo Anthony has been given every break possible, except for now, because the video was viewed recently of a security video of what happened, and apparently that video has been leaked. I haven't seen it, but apparently it shows nobody. It's grainy and blurry and from a distance, but it does not show Karmelo Anthony being attacked by the Metcalf brothers at all. And again, Karmelo Anthony came over to their tent. First of all, he was at a track meet he was not supposed to be at. Second, he came over to a tent that was not of his school, sat down, started being a smartass, whatever. Was asked to leave several times, was told to leave, never left. But again, he wants to claim that he feared for his life. He didn't fear for his life. Not one single bit. Again, the guy had every chance to leave. He was told to leave. Again, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. He was not in fear of his life at all. And now the video shows he was not attacked. He told the Metcalf boys, "Hey, look, touch me, hit me, whatever, and find out what happens." And of course, Karmelo Anthony knew what would happen because Karmelo Anthony knew that he had a knife. But now, Karmelo Anthony is up for murder. First degree. Watch.
Good afternoon. Earlier this spring, our community was shaken by what happened at a school track meet in Frisco. The violent loss of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. For weeks now, my team has been presenting evidence to the grand jury, and today I summarized that evidence, and I asked the grand jury to return a first-degree murder indictment against Karmelo Anthony, which they did. With this indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. From this point forward, we'll continue doing our job both fully and fairly to pursue justice under the law. As for the scheduling of the trial, that will be up to the court. But when the time comes, we will be ready. Now, we know that this case has struck a deep nerve here in Collin County and beyond. And that's understandable. When something like this happens at a school event, it shakes people to the core. But let's remember that the justice system works best when it moves with steadiness and principle. That's what we're committed to, and that's what this case deserves. We're also mindful of Austin's family and everyone who loved him. Please keep them in your thoughts, and if you're willing, your prayers as well. Finally, let's remember that a defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law.
So yeah, Karmelo Anthony is going to be formally charged with the murder, or now is formally charged with the murder of Austin Metcalf. The first degree murder. And it should be. I mean, again, that's what the guy did. The guy murdered somebody. Because, again, he didn't like being told by white people to leave their tent. And again, I'm not saying if anyone touched Karmelo, I'm not saying they should have. Of course not. But that does not justify him being stabbed in the heart and killed. And then somebody claimed, self-defense. Self-defense because I feared for my life. You didn't fear for your life, you stupid moron. And the people that believe him, they're just as much of morons. But I'm going to play for you some guy named The Amazing Lucas or whatever. Some black guy from YouTube that, you tell people that, we ought to be upset about this. Rise up. Be upset about this because, again, this poor boy, Karmelo Anthony, he was oppressed. No, he's not. No, he's not. Again, he's somebody using his black privilege. Yes, black privilege. To get all kinds of attention, all kinds of money, victimhood status. Poor Karmelo, poor baby. No, he went somewhere we should not have been. Was asked several times to leave. Nobody attacked him. He would not leave. He refused to leave. And then apparently when somebody touched his arm or grabbed his arm or whatever, said, "Look, man, leave." He turned around and stabbed him in the heart. And then all of a sudden, self-defense. Oh, you stupid moron. That doesn't qualify for self-defense. Self-defense is, I fear for my life. And if you feared for your life, you would have damn left the tent. But you never feared for your life. You never did. You can't have it both ways. But watch The Amazing Lucas.
Austin and apparently his brother come over to Karmelo. Words are exchanged, and he says they tried to swing at him. Karmelo goes to his bag, and then they pursue. They continue on.
It was raining. They got rained out like crazy bad. Everybody trying to get back to their cars or get in, places where they, wouldn't get all extra wet. Dude was sitting up under the tent, right? He was on his phone, right? My daughters was up under the same goddamn tent. Yeah. So I'm paying attention to my kids, but at the same time, they're in the same vicinity. So I'm watching everything going on around it because I'm there for my children. So dude walks up. McKellen, bro, he wasn't even under the tent at the time. They came from a whole separate tent and walked over there. They intentionally went over there to this kid, man. Dude was sitting there on his phone just trying to get dry. You feel me? One thing went from another. They grabbed this man and they tried to punch on dude. Dude went in his bag and whatever. They went to try to jump this dude and punch on this dude, man. And he protected himself, dude. That's what happened. Yeah. It wasn't just one. It was both of them, bro. Austin, that dude that got unalive, and his brother physically went over there to intentionally. It's not to the point that he brought a knife. For one, it wasn't on school property. The school is at least 5 to 10 miles away. It was community track meet, bruh. It wasn't a school track meet. So he had the right to have a knife on his person, bro.
It's always going to be a different story than the main story that the racist right tries to promote. Always going to be a different story. When people talk about you can't use lethal force is in the eye of the beholder, right? It's the same thing we have when it comes to an officer, that they fear for their lives. It can't be in hindsight. It has to be taken into account of what happened at that time. So if Anthony is being attacked, he's already been assaulted, and you have two people, it's 2 versus 1, in addition to them being completely outweighed. He's outweighed by them, right? They weigh 200-something pounds or whatnot. Anthony's a very skinny kid. Then yes, a lawyer could absolutely argue that he had reasonable belief that he was going to have not immediate imminent death, because it's not imminent death, but also a serious bodily injury. Those are two factors that come into play. So if he absolutely believes that he's going to incur serious bodily injury, then yeah, pulling out a knife to defend yourself is absolutely reasonable. It's absolutely can be seen as self.
In no way did he have the right to have a knife as a school event. Again, if anyone here knows anything about school events, you don't take a weapon. They treat those as school property. You're going to a school event, number one. Number two, he was not supposed to be there because apparently Karmelo Anthony was in trouble with his school. So he was not supposed to be there. Number two, he was sitting at the tent of another school that he did not go to. He had no reason to be there. He was asked over and over again to leave. He did not leave. And then when he told the guys, touch me, see what happens, punch me, whatever, see what happens. And the guys, apparently, at some point, they grabbed his arm to have him leave. He turned around, grabbed a knife from his backpack that he knew he had, stabbing the one brother, Austin, in the chest, killing him. Look, you hear all the time, and you have with this case, all the time from the other side. Oh, again, they could have just left him alone. He could have just, he could have walked away. The kids could have walked away, could have whatever. Karmelo Anthony could have walked away. And should have walked away. His fear for his life, if he feared for his life, he would have walked away. But he never feared for his life. Not once. Never did. And again, that is what, again, the courts can look at that. They're going to look at what justification did he have to take his life. They didn't threaten him with weapons or anything. They told him to leave their tent. They never threatened the kid with weapons. They never, started beating him up there or whatever. No. He was upset because they dissed him. They disrespected him. All the white kids. They disrespected Karmelo. That's what it amounts to. Because Karmelo never feared for his life. He was never threatened. He was never beat up. They never started jumping on him. And the video shows that. So again, this black guy, I was there. I was there. I saw what happened. I was there because my daughter, my baby girl was over there. Again, this kind of intelligence that, again, this guy is backing up Karmelo Anthony, knowing the guy did wrong. And again, this is pure evil. Knowing the guy killed somebody, knowing the guy, again, in my estimation, premeditated murdered him. Again, he knew, Karmelo knew that he had the knife. And he knew that he was going to use it, and he even threatened them. Touch me. Punch me. Whatever. See what happens. Because again, he knew he had the knife. Yeah. Again, man, you can't make this stuff up. When we're talking about, it's in the eye of the beholder. It was not. Again, this is where the amazing Lucas is amazingly wrong. It's not the eye of the beholder. It's whether or not a reasonable person would say, look, you have the right to fear for your life. If you were getting beat up, if you were getting jumped, if a weapon was shown, something, I could have said, okay, maybe. But even then, you've been asked to leave several times. And you never did. But if they pulled out a gun or a knife or whatever, yeah. I would have said, or if they started beating them up or whatever, I would have said, yeah. But that's not what happened. And again, this is what happens right here. I'm going to show you next. What happens when the black mob gets upset? Again, about this whole situation. Watch.
Oh, bitch, I get on the TikTok today and I see like 10 videos straight of motherfuckers talking about some, where all the Karmelo supporters at, where the Karmelo supporters at, his ass finna go to jail for life, he's finna rot in jail, I told y'all boys he wasn't innocent. I'm thinking the motherfucking video out, bitch, the video not even out yet. The video is released, but it's only shown to a select handful of people in the court of law, but ain't no judge or no jury determine no verdict yet or no sentence, bitch. So what the is y'all talking about? The law is innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, bitch. When the did that become a law? I still think it's motherfucking self-defense, bitch.
Dr. Umar says that if that video that they have of the Frisco incident involving Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf actually showed that Karmelo Anthony was guilty, the video would absolutely be out by now. He also states that Karmelo Anthony and Rodney Hinton Jr. aren't actually on trial for these alleged crimes that they committed, but because they had the audacity to defend themselves against white people, basically.
According to the Texas stand your ground law, if you felt that your life was in danger, you do not have a duty to retreat. Did y'all hear that? They said, why didn't he run? Texas law does not require you to run. Texas law allows you to stand and fight, and that's what he did. But he's not on trial for that. He's on trial for having the audacity as a black boy to defend your honor by taking a life. Right.
There has been.
You always get the geniuses out there explaining, again, how this was self-defense. Again, how this could have been self-defense. Again, I'm not saying, he had the fear that he was going to be killed, but, a great bodily harm. And again, none of that happened. None of that even got close to occurring. Number one, the kid was told to leave over and over and over and over again. Leave, you don't belong here, it's not your tent. Get your ass out. And he refused. It's very hard to make a case for self-defense if you refused every other option. Oh, the only option I had was to unalive him. That was it. That was all I had. I had no other recourse. None. It's not even close to being true, man. Not even close to being true. And again, if he felt like he was at great bodily harm or was going to be killed or whatever, he would have left. He would have left the situation. And again, Dr. Barr said, he doesn't have to. He can stand and fight. He's not fighting for anything. He's not doing anything. He refused to leave an area where he did not belong. And when somebody said, hey, look, and grabbed his arm and told him to leave, that somehow justifies stabbing him to death. That's like somebody, breaking, coming onto my property. And I told them over and over again, man, leave, leave. Then when I finally get to the point where, and the guy is actually telling me, touch me, see what happens, touch me. And I grab the guy's arm and I say, look, man, leave. Another guy takes a knife and stabs me in the chest. Ha ha! Self-defense. No, brother. That ain't self-defense. That's murder.
An official indictment for first-degree unaliving in the Karmelo Anthony case. Now, before y'all get too excited, which I know you are, that does not mean that he's been found guilty and that he's going to jail. Now, before y'all come over here starting y'all mess, I still agree that it was self-defense. And so does Karmelo Anthony's legal team. They already shared that they plan to argue this in court as a self-defense case and that they believe that the justice system will do right by Karmelo Anthony.
Well, it's official. Karmelo Anthony has been charged with first-degree M. I mean, this is America. A black person defending himself against a white person has never worked out really in a black person's favor. So, you know, now if the colors would have been flipped, it would have been a whole different story. But because he's defending himself, you know, that's what we read, right? We read self-defense, right? But, you know, of course, people didn't take it that way. So yeah.
They didn't take it that way because it was not self-defense. Do you not understand that? It wasn't self-defense. That's why it's not being taken that way. Again, you can't just come up on somebody's tent, another school's tent or whatever, at a track meet that you're not supposed to be at. And then told, hey, look, leave. You're not supposed to be here. Please leave. And the guy refused. Now, you can't tell me what to do, white boy. You can't be telling me what to do. And again, this mindset is what is killing the black community. I mean, it's what's destroying the black community in America. It's this mindset right here. And again, it's not self-defense, it's murder. And the young guy right there saying, you know, well, if the roles would have been reversed, it might have worked. But, you know, black people defending themselves against white people never works. What are you talking about? Boy, what you talking about? Never works. There are so many cases where black people are literally doing things wrong. They're the aggressors. They're the ones starting things. I mean, again, just like, you know, cases of people saying the N-word, white people saying the N-word. And again, I'm not saying they should. What I'm saying is, if they want to, they can. That does not give people the justification to hurt or kill at all. And any kind of touching or whatever is assault. But again, in the black community, that's seen as, you know, of course, man, that white person said the N-word. Again, like I said, man, that's the mindset. Not too smart. Again, I'm not saying all black people or whatever, but again, that demographic of black people, that part of them, the ghetto nature, the ghetto ones, yeah, they're not too smart. They're not with it. Again, everything they do comes from emotion. They react from that place. And that's what the problem is. I mean, again, you have rich black men like O.J. Simpson. Again, I'm sure the kid's way young for that, but O.J. Simpson, you know, who was found not guilty of murder. And again, majority of people that really paid attention to the trial, and really white or black, that wants to be honest. And again, back in '95, when the murder case was going on. I watched pretty much all of it. And, I mean, again, it was very clear to me that OJ was most likely guilty. I mean, again, I don't think I could have found any reasonable doubt to find him innocent. But again, in civil court, OJ was found liable for the death of his soon-to-be ex-wife and her boyfriend or friend or whatever he is. Yeah. You know, again, people have got to be honest about things. They got to be honest. And again, that's the only way. That's the only way that things are ever going to be good. Is that people are honest. And right now, people, they want to run to the corners. They want to run to, like, especially black people right now. They want to run to the corners. Oh, the white man is against us. The white man's always trying to hurt us. No. As a matter of fact, the white man tries to concede wherever he can. Well, you might be right, or you might have a point. Because the white man does not want to feel guilty. He does not want to be seen as racist. So again, he'll concede whatever he can in order not to look that way. And I think the tide is starting to change, but I think it's happening very slowly. But guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.